Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to TSP TV, and in this episode, reclaiming tobacco. So I'm not exactly entirely sure if this is a survival skill, a prepping tip, or exactly what it is. Maybe a life hack or a life skill or something you may want to consider if you are a smoker like myself and many of you who do follow loyally to TSP TV and tune into all my episodes, or most of my episodes, shall I say. I don't suppose everybody watches every single one, but hopefully those of you watching this one will know that I am a smoker. I do enjoy to smoke cannabis, marijuana mixed with my tobacco. I don't actually smoke just a cigarette, but I use kind of an entire cigarette to make a spliff and roll and smoke. Medicinal purposes, THC, nicotine, bad habits, I know, but anyway, in times of relaxation, sorrow, comfort, enjoyment, smoking is something that I've done, and many of you out there I know who do follow along to TSP TV and do tune in regularly are also smokers. So what happens when the shit hits the fan and you get down to your last cigarette, as I literally am right now? That is my last smoke, so I'm kind of saving that a little bit, and I also have run out of rolling papers, although I've got a couple left still. But anyway, if you are in a situation, if you're out of work, if you're maybe a junkie or something, and you're trying to sort of make what little you have go as far as you can, and I know some of you have had some habits, or maybe even still do have some habits, but some of these kind of little sort of tweak tips or junkie hacks do actually kind of come in extremely well for survival situations and emergency situations. So what happens, for smokers, if they, how many cigarettes can you seriously stockpile and prep? And if, you are in a shit hit in the fan, or maybe you're going through some personal emotions or some personal circumstances that are stressful, or, anxiety or depressing, then sometimes you turn to chain smoking like I do as a little bit of a comfort and a change. So I'm down to one cigarette, so I'm kind of trying to save that, and these are the cheap double happiness, almost the cheapest one you can buy. So how do I prepare for the eventuality of running out of cigarettes? Now, I have been in North America for 12 years, and a lot of that time I have struggled, maybe been out of work, or been, getting the bare minimum income come in. So something I tend to do is have a salvage or a scrap tin. So this was a biscuit tin. I think this was something my mum sent me for Christmas with some cookies or something in it. But anyway, it's just a regular tin, and as you can kind of see in here, that usually I kind of have a little bit of a kind of tub or tray that I roll on, but every time I finish rolling a cigarette, rather than throw the butt into the garbage, I throw it into this tin. And the reason being, because you never know, unlike this one, which doesn't have any, sometimes you find a little bit like this. So then what I also do, oh my word, sorry, I had a little bit of a accident there. Let's realign the camera and knocked my tripod out of place. So what I generally do is get in this case, a former weed baggie. This is one of the Ziplocs that some marijuana was delivered to me a little while ago, and also already have a little bit of tobacco in there. So basically what I do, as you can see, that drop that into the bag, And now I've probably got, I don't know, maybe enough to make 2 or possibly 3 joints in there already. And I've been sort of doing this for about the last 20 minutes. And I just told Judy Bow, our beloved wench wrench, I'm going to start calling you guys the Wenchman, even though some of you are ladies, but I think we're going to drop the Wench Wrench title, get away from the old sort of kind of tackiness, and try and call you the Wenchman. Let me know if you think Wenchman and Wenchwomen. I mean, we're just using the term generically, I guess. But if you like the term Wenchman rather than the Wench Wrenches, maybe we'll just have a little bit of fun for nostalgia with the wrench thing in the future. But anyway, Judy Bow, I was chatting to her in said this was what I was up to, and said I could almost make a video about it. It is a video about nothing, and in the true spirit of George Costanza and Seinfeld, a little bit of a favourite show and almost an influence of mine on this channel. I thought, you know what, it is an episode. Let's try and get back into the sort of flow of things, get back into a little bit of routine, trying to make some videos. And again, this might be a survival skill or a prepping tip that you have not even considered. And as I said, I know a lot of you out there are smokers. So again, we've got a little bit of tobacco, and on we go. And I'm pretty sure by now you kind of get the drill. So you can see there's a little bit. Now, something I actually do purposely when I do roll my joints is kind of leave that little piece of tobacco in the end. Now, if you were a smoker, something you could possibly do each and every time you took a cigarette, if you wanted to do what I'm doing, is kind of like chop off maybe about that much of the top, you know, just pinch or snip it off with some scissors and put it in your own Ziploc or baggie if you have one. I mean, I'm not going to do that to this one because that is literally my last cigarette, so I'm trying to reclaim as much tobacco as I can before I have to smoke that one. Now, if you really got desperate, and I almost hate to admit this, people, but I have been that desperate where I've been on the streets picking up discarded dog ends, as we used to call them in England, or cigarette butts, as they are known in North America, and did exactly this with cigarettes that people have already smoked. And then if you get yourself a couple of packets of rolling paper, if you're just a smoker that smokes cigarettes, then in the event of an emergency, you would have your little bag of tiny pieces of tobacco that you could then break up and roll into a smokable cigarette, I guess. And honest to God, guys, you smokers out there won't know how valuable having a little tip bag or some discarded reclaimed tobacco is. Now, I think somewhere in here, yes, there is. There's an old joint there for some reason I put out and forgot about. But there's a shitload of tobacco in there. You know, I could just literally re-roll that. So let's see if I can get this out. I'm not going to do every single one, but I might put you on pause and show you how much tobacco I did reclaim at the end as a little bit of a demonstration. I could almost put a time lapse in between then and now. In fact, why don't I? Thinking about it, I'm making this up as I go along. You know, Indiana Jones is another influence and hero of mine. Making it up as I go along and shows about nothing are something that are part and parcel of TSP TV folklore and part of the thrift store prepper philosophy, I guess, or mantra maybe. So anyway, before I bore you any senseless, as you can see, so I've also got from that discarded joint, I got tobacco and weed, so that's plus. So what I'm going to do right now is put you on hold and see if I can figure out how to do a time lapse, and then we'll come back and look how much tobacco we did reclaim from my salvage tin. So stay tuned, although it will be momentarily for you. are back. Hope you enjoyed that little time-lapse extravaganza thrown in between the beginning and this part of the video. So as you can see, I've gone through pretty much every single filter that I had in my tin and reclaimed quite a lot of tobacco. So I'm going to get rid of those there and just kind of give you a little idea of how many we went through. And as I said, just saving those little pieces of tobacco on each and every cigarette, and I kind of started doing that around a couple of weeks ago. Up until then, I was pretty comfortable for smokes. Dear old Glynis, one of the wenchmen, she sent me a wonderful care package for my birthday, which included a whole carton of cigarettes. So I kind of got a little bit carried away with that, because that's the most cigarettes I've had in quite a long time. But when I got around to about the last 3 or 4 packs, I started saving my, as I showed you earlier, just the very end of that, and I try to save the end on as many of the cigarettes as I use as possible. I'm not sure if you can see this. Let me empty it out. So just to give you an idea, that's how much tobacco I reclaimed. Now that's probably about at least half an ounce, maybe even an ounce of tobacco. And if you had a pack of rolling papers, that's going to roll you a lot of cigarettes. We've pretty much taken that from, as I said, stuff that I would have otherwise tossed in the trash. And as I said, if you're somebody that doesn't smoke, and that's the only reason I use cigarettes for, is to get the tobacco to roll my spliffs with. But if you're someone who doesn't smoke weed, like I said, if you just took maybe that much off of each cigarette, maybe, you know, half a centimeter, a couple of puffs, and you might not even miss a couple of puffs each time. And again, it might even help you reduce the amount that you smoke, although you may want to smoke another one if you know, some smokers do need every last drag and will smoke it right down to the filter. But as I'm saying, guys, if you salvage or take, you know, just a little piece, a couple of puffs, as we said, you know, that's probably a couple of puffs worth of a cigarette there, and save it, then in an emergency, when you run out of cigarettes, if the shit hits the fan, if you find yourself unemployed, if you're finding yourself, you know, just a few dollars in your pocket, you don't know if you want to buy food or you want to buy a pack of smokes, as I said, it's smoke insurance, I guess. We've got food insurance, and this is smoke insurance. Just saving this stuff and reclaiming things can save your life. But we're not actually done there, because the salvage tin doesn't just only salvage tobacco. Is in this case, let me just push that to the side and get rid of the packet. What you may or may not be able to see here, I'm going to put the tobacco in, is we've got a little bit of discarded tobacco. So what I do, using an old credit card, and there's a prepaid one, there's no money on it. If you wanted to use it, there are the details. But anyway, it's been used, there's no credit on it. So what I do then is, as you can see here, is kind of scrape up what tobacco got left behind on the table, because it does happen, and I have it in there. The other thing I have also are old, these aren't rolling papers, these are kind of what they put in the packets of rolling papers to let you know you're down to 5 left. Now, although they don't have any gum and they don't stick as easily, and they're a little bit thicker than rolling papers, you can actually use them as rolling papers. So when, you know, like I'm in a situation now where I'm kind of trying to find rolling papers, and lucky enough I did find a rolling paper, so sometimes a couple of little rolling papers get thrown in. That is what I'm also on the scout for. But these little things here, as you can see, you've got quite a lot of them, will serve as rolling papers also. We've got little bits of trash in there, so lots and lots and lots of those that we can be using as rolling papers. Now you do have to kind of lick them quite a bit to get them to stick, and even these, there's another one that kind of lets you know, these are actually pretty better, but they've got the ink on them, but hey. And then we've got a rolling paper, you know, something we'll do. Now I have used in the past receipts and stuff like that. Is that a rolling paper? No, it's just a piece of discarded cigarette. Now, I've also got what you can see, all these little bits of cardboard in there, which I'm probably going to have to filter out myself, and a whole bunch of tobacco. So let me just put you on pause, and we'll come back in a second. Okay, so we are back. So basically what I did is pick out all the bits of cardboard and paper and twigs and stuff. And this is how much tobacco we all have. And I cut the little bits of paper in there. There's a little bit of cardboard. And what else is in here? A few roaches. Now these are roaches actually that Glynis sent me. Now some of you may think, oh God, Glynis sent you roaches. No, I actually asked Glyn, or she asked if it would be okay if she sent me my roaches. And I said, yes, that would be fantastic for this exact purpose. Now, each and every one of these has a little bit of marijuana in, although we're not going to break those down. I'm going to show you just how much. Now, as I said, we've got a few little pieces of paper in there. But including the joint butts, as I said, let's try and pick all the little bits of tobacco we can, not tobacco, paper we can out. So that is how much tobacco I've reclaimed from the salvage tin. Sorry about that clank. That's how much kind of rolling material I've kind of salvaged from the tin. And let me toss those in there. And lo and behold, there's even a little bit more tobacco there to salvage. So that is, as I said, smokable tobacco. And that will keep me going for quite some time. There's probably almost a week's worth of tobacco there if I used it sparingly. So as I said, guys, that was my little tip for you. If you are a smoker and the shit is, you know, could hit the fan, or you're preparing for the shit hitting the fan, just take a little tiny piece off the end of your cigarette, throw it in a tin like I have. Maybe you could even get yourself a little tin like this, like an Altoids tin, but this one happens to be a Mystic Mints. There's also a Ouija board. Keep them in there, or if you're like me, you can toss them into one of my former weed baggies, and that will keep it a little bit fresher and smokable. Now let me just give you another little tip here, North Americans. So something you seem to have not grasped or kind of even thought of, it would seem, is when you roll your joints, look how much there, that's all marijuana. Believe it or not, I could probably use that and make a spliff. I should probably do it for demonstrative purposes, but anyway, all of these little roaches, that's all marijuana that you didn't smoke. You paid for it, and all that marijuana is going to probably end up in the trash, or unless you're Glynis, she saved them and sent them to me. And I've already smoked a couple just out of curiosity, and some of those are pretty good, good black roaches, to be quite honest. Let me show you a little tip. You see here we've got a little bit of cardboard, and this is what comes in the front of your cigarette packet there, you see. So if you pull that out, let me just show you a very, very, very simple and life-changing experience. You get a little piece of cardboard like this, you see. When you come to roll, you put your little bit of cardboard in the end like so, and I'll just put some tobacco in there for good measures. Or you can even just throw a roach in there. And lo and behold, you've got yourself, you see, there it is. And when you come to roll, and the same for cigarettes, if you wanted to roll a little tobacco, you tuck it underneath the roach like sus, and you roll it up. And now you can smoke all the weed. And you've got a little filter in there, and you won't have to throw it. I'm not going to roll this up because I'm going to need that later. But you see what I'm saying there, guys? Put yourself a little tiny filter in the end of your roach, and then you don't end up throwing marijuana away like this in the trash because it's too small. You're like kind of, you know, trying to get it as close to your lips as you can before your fingers burn. Make yourself a little cardboard roach, and there's another one. And those are some things that I also salvaged out of the salvage tin, pieces of cardboard that I can make roaches out of. And by roach I mean a cardboard tube. So there you go, there's another little demonstration how to make one. Easy as pie, you can see through it, and that will enable you to be able to smoke all the way to the end without burning your fingers. So anyway, I'm gonna possibly toss all of this into the bag, and we're probably gonna do another little bit of scraping up just to make sure we don't lose any. We've almost got a full bag of tobacco there, folks, from recycling or reclaiming tobacco from my salvage tin. I've got enough tobacco to see me until I get a new packet of smokes with pretty, I'm not going to say comfort or indefinitely, but I certainly got a few days worth of tobacco there nonetheless. And yeah, and as I said, with the added bonus of the hidden roaches, kind of like Lucky Charms, I guess. The roaches are like the kind of marshmallows and the tobacco is like the regular cereal. Keep your hands off me, Lucky Charms. So anyway, there is a full bag pretty much of reclaimed or re-salvageable, re-smokable tobacco. If not, you thought this was a handy tip, a life-saving tip, and I'm pretty sure some of you smokers, oh my word, I just noticed something, that's pretty cool. You can peel the green off and it's silver underneath. Sorry, I got carried away with that. Cool. Anyway, as I said, I got a bag of tobacco now that I can use to roll and smoke. The salvage tin is pretty empty and ready to re-salvage, so let's start that off right away with the stuff that we've left on the table, and we start the process again. And that is why I keep the salvage tin. I've actually got some stuff to salvage off cam. Do you know what? I'll be cheeky and show you how messy it is. The other side, yeah. So just a quick little look for you there. So there we go, guys. Salvage tins. I mean, again, you could keep them in your little tin like this, but I find it better to pop in there. Get yourself a salvage tin. Start trimming your ends of your smokes, or you know, kind of what I do is, I don't know if you do, I kind of lick down the side where the stream is, and I roll it back, and I save maybe, you know, the same amount at the top of the cigarette, and that's why I toss them into the salvage tin. And as you've seen, when I'm low on tobacco, that's what I do, and I make sure, I mean, it's not exactly the best of tobacco to smoke, don't get me wrong, it's usually a little bit dry and kind of has a bit of a weird flavour, but the nicotine and the THC combined is there. So anyway, guys, as I said, I don't know if or not you learned this, found it helpful, or thought it was a good tip or not, or thought, oh my god, that's the sort of shit only tweakers do. Let me know in a comment below, because I do appreciate reading your comments. So as for that, but guys, not much else I can add to this episode. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, even if it was just my bizarre habits when I roll. But as I say, guys, I'm not the only person that does this, and quite a few smokers I've known over the years do similar to that, keep all their stuff in a little tray or salvage pot when they roll, and use the dregs to good use when they are in times of need. So as I say, guys, thanks for watching. This was a shit video production for TSP TV. I am the Thrift Store Prepper. Hopefully we'll catch you in the next one, and until then, keep it thrifty, and remember, be excellent to each other. Take care, guys. See you soon.